Tonight I'd just like to say a few words to introduce my partner Dave Shaler and also to talk in praise of whistleblowers generally. Over the last few years there have been 4 significant whistleblowers to emerge from the intelligence community. First of all, Dave himself, without whom we would not have known that MI5 can't do the job and stop bombs going off on British streets, without whom we wouldn't have known that 2 innocent Palestinians are still rotting in a British prison for a crime they didn't commit, namely the bombing of the Israeli embassy in London in 1994. And most importantly, without whom we wouldn't have known that the British state became an unwitting state sponsor of terrorism when MI6 funded Al-Qaeda to try and assassinate Colonel Gaddafi of Libya in 1996. Of course, then there's the tragic case of David Kelly, without whom we wouldn't have known that we were taken to war on a false premise when the government told us that we were 45 minutes away from annihilation by weapons of mass destruction. Then, of course, there's the case of Catherine Gunn, the GCHQ whistleblower who was acquitted a couple of weeks ago. And without her, we wouldn't have known that the US asked GCHQ to illegally bug UN allies in the run-up to the war. And finally, of course, there's Claire Short. We owe these people a debt of thanks, but you wouldn't necessarily believe that when you look at what is reported about them in the national press. They're the ones who are hauled through the courts, and they're the ones who are put in prison, but not Tony Blair, who took us to war illegally. The press has a 4-step plan now. I think it was probably refined by Alistair Campbell when they want to deal with whistleblowers. First of all, they will say that the whistleblower is a Walter Mitty character, doesn't know what they're talking about. Then they will say that the person who blows the whistle is too junior to know what they're talking about and doesn't have the seniority required. Thirdly, they will say that the whistleblower has a grudge against their employer or former employer. And finally, most significantly, they will say that the whistleblower is a traitor to their country. And again, I say that they're not the traitors to this country. It's Tony Blair and his government who took us to war on a false premise.